I think for me, the biggest thing was it made the Bible one cohesive story, that it's not like a different God in the Old Testament, a different God in the New Testament, and then a different God that we're interacting with now. It's the same God with the same heart to just reveal himself to all the nations. And it's cool to me that we're part of the same story that started in Genesis, and it's still carrying through our time today and into the future as well. There's these stories that we've heard, if you're a Christian for any amount of time, there's stories that you get familiar with. But in Perspectives, especially in the first two lessons, you learn about this kind of underlying meta-narrative about God revealing himself to all the nations. And all of those stories that we're familiar with actually have that underlying narrative, but we've just missed it a lot of the time. And so it's exciting to be looking for that story as I read the Bible in my day-to-day life. And I feel like that's helped my relationship with God deepen. I've taken the class 3 times now, and I feel like every single time I've just got something new. It's really refreshed my vision and brought more energy to my life through taking it. And it's 15 lessons, and there's a different instructor for every lesson, and each of those instructors has this unique background, and a lot of them have served decades in community development or church pioneer church planting and just all of these different things. And so you get a unique class every time with all of these different backgrounds. And so I don't know what other context you would get all of that information and insight in. This is a class for all believers to take, because it equips you. It's not just if you're going to be spending the rest of your life in the Congo reaching out to tribal people there or something. It really equips you with the tools that you need for whatever your ministry looks like, whether you're a pastor with a congregation that you're shepherding, whether you are a missionary, or even if you're an engineer at just a regular business, it gives you the tools to figure out, okay, how do I reach the people around me, and what does that look like? Perspectives talks about 5 different ways that you can get involved. There's going, but there's also welcoming, which is what we love doing, mobilizing, which is also what we love doing, but there's also praying and sending, and those are things that anybody can do. So going is only one of those 5 options to get involved in God's global plan. This idea of incarnational ministry that you learn about, it's one of the big concepts in Perspectives. And, the idea behind it is that God left the glory of heaven to come here as a man, to be born in a manger. And he came to us in human flesh so that we could identify with him. There's just that sense of he came to us, he took on flesh. And so I think carrying that into our day-to-day life is just super important. The idea that we can go to people and reach out to them in ways that they understand, enter into their social circles instead of taking them from their social circles and making them be a part of what we want them to be like and stuff. And so that has been a big shift for me. It's really kind of shifted the trajectory of our lives. I used to work in a secular job, and I would reach out as much as I could in my free time to the diaspora, international students and the refugee community where I was living. And I think after taking Perspectives, it made me realize that I just wanted to devote all of my time to reaching the nations and being part of God's global plan. I would also say that Perspectives gave us this heart for unity among churches and parachurch organizations, campus ministries, and kind of our heart is to just unite all of those different entities around revealing God to the nations and God's global story.